Welcome back to the channel, good people. We're going to be discussing customer satisfaction surveys. Basically, this is data that's collected by the J.D. Power and Associates, and this is just responses to a survey that they run, customers' perceptions and what they think about their wireless providers. So I've got a whole bunch of different pieces of the data broken down. I've got the segment averages, all the different segments described, and then the individual brands and how they scored. So let's start first with the big major players. So you've got, pictured here on the screen, you've got AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, the big three. You've got, I guess, what I consider to be what would be the average with a score out of 1,000. This segment has an average score of 593. We're going to come back to this number. Just keep that in the back of your mind. 593 for the postpaid MNOs. All right, T-Mobile, number one, with a score of 626. They held the same first place finish as the last time they did the survey, so they held. Verizon coming in at 583, AT&T coming in at 573. I don't think much has changed from survey to survey, however frequent they run these. So T-Mobile the best, the only carrier in this segment that actually was above the average. Both Verizon and AT&T below the segment average. So I don't think it's accurate to say that customer satisfaction is the same at all the providers. I don't think that's true. Not at all. There is some differences between the three. So T-Mobile, Verizon, then AT&T. Now, when it comes to the MNOs, the same companies on the prepaid side, they scored a 601 as a segment. That's the average. T-Mobile came in at 617. Verizon came in at 595. AT&T came in at 587. So the order is the same. They kind of hold. Notice that the prepaid MNO average is higher than the postpaid. There's a disconnect there. I'm going to come back to that. Right? That's an important piece to this. Moving on to the postpaid MVNO. This is a unique segment. The average for this segment is 641, higher than both postpaid MNO and prepaid MNO. Consumer Cellular finished at 726. Google Fi Wireless came in at 671. Spectrum Mobile 623. Boost Mobile 612 and Xfinity Mobile 582. The biggest regressor here, Spectrum Mobile. They actually went back 3 spots. They used to be the leader here. The segment average at 641 is interesting because only 2 companies out of the 5 listed actually scored above the average. That was Consumer Cellular and Google Fi Wireless. The rest were below. So Spectrum Mobile kind of peeling back a bit. Boost way below the average. Xfinity well below the average. All right, moving on to the prepaid MVNO. With an average score of 638, Mint Mobile scored a 716. They held the title in the segment. Visible by Verizon, a 708 score. Cricket Wireless 653. Straight Talk 637. Metro by T-Mobile 633. TracFone 626. Boost Mobile 608, and then Total Wireless a 594 score. Interesting that the prepaid MVNO had a higher score than postpaid MNO and higher than prepaid MNO. Right? So and very, very close to the postpaid MVNO. So Mint holds its title. If you guys are interested in checking out their service, there's a link in the description, our partner link. They do offer a great customer experience. But in terms of averaging over the segment's average, it's Mint, then Visible, then Cricket. We'll give Straight Talk, they're pretty close. They're at 637. The average was at 638, so they're close. But Metro, TracFone, Boost, and Total are way behind. They're way out of the average. So there's some important information here. It seems to me that the most impactful drivers of this survey and the satisfaction ratings, it's value. The customer has to feel like they're getting what they're paying for, or they're getting more for their dollars compared to other providers, right? And I think also service quality. You got to get a good network. You got to get good functionality in your app. You got to get good features that work like they're supposed to. It's really interesting to see how even some of the cheaper brands in terms of affordability don't necessarily score the best. But if it's a company that gives customers what they believe they should be getting for what they're paying, they're very satisfied. I feel strongly about the T-Mobile brand in postpaid. I feel strongly about Consumer Cellular and Google Fi in postpaid MVNO. And the same thing for like Mint Mobile and Visible by Verizon and Cricket. Customers that have those services tell me the same thing all the time. I feel like I'm getting a good deal. I feel like I'm getting the features that I need and want, and it's a good combination. See, it isn't just about price, because if it was just about price, then scores from Total Wireless and Boost Mobile and TracFone would be higher. But it's more than that. The customers don't mind paying if they're getting something good and they're returning value for what they're paying. Remember, price is what you pay, value is what you get. This survey speaks to that, in my opinion. I think both Verizon and AT&T could kind of work on their customer satisfaction. They definitely trail T-Mobile in that space. Same thing goes in prepaid. Postpaid MVNO, I think Big Cable's got to fix what they've got going on. They add tons of customers, but they could be adding more and keeping more, you know. And then the prepaid MVNO, like there's Metro should not be that far back. The problem is Metro, you know, they've moved to a dealer channel, and so has Boost. You know, there's no corporate, so there might be something to that, you know. But anyways, let me know what your experiences are with these companies and these brands and what you thought of the survey. Interested to hear what you guys have to say on those experiences. Drop me your comments, questions, and concerns. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. Check out some more videos. We'll see you guys soon on the next one.